Is it working? We have in-sync shoulders. That's good.
Live.
Oh, sorry. It's over here this time.
It.
We are live and Bubba's
We're
wearing
live.
pink. You know it's going to be a good day. Jordan Page with FunCheaperFree.com and BudgetBootcamp.com here with Bubba for another Q&A Tuesday that he's going to help me with because, first of all, it's after 10 p.m. Sorry, guys.
Hey, kids are in bed.
This is like our date night pretty much, so we're going to do this together. And second of all, it is bonding time. And second of all, because it's a really good question. Actually, it's kind of a series of questions that Bubba is the perfect person to help me answer this with because Bubba's a hardcore entrepreneur. So,
you know it.
For those who have no idea who I am, hello, welcome. I have a blog, FunCheaperFree.com, and it's like a frugal living and lifestyle and budgeting blog. And then I also have a fun budgeting program called BudgetBootcamp.com for people like me who are bad with money and hate money and not good at math, but have found a way to make it fun.
And she is real, y'all. Everything she does is super real. It's super authentic.
I'm a real person. You're so sweet.
Everything she does is awesome.
Use the code Facebook or YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube for 10% off. Okay, we're just going to jump into it because it's so late.
Let's do this.
In fact, I want to watch the time so we're not...
Okay, 10:25.
Ooh, it's late. All right, there was a series of questions. In fact, I got one today that basically was, what is your take on MLMs, on network marketing companies? And is that a good way for women who stay at home to maybe bring in some extra income or start a business on the side? And then we also had a good question along with that from Guiding Your Munchkins on Instagram that said, basically paraphrasing, what's really made a difference in your guys' businesses and the success that you've had in starting a business? Like, what's the most important things that you've done? But then along with that, we've had several questions throughout the week come in about people who are looking to supplement their income. We're going to cover 3 things tonight.
Let's do this.
We're going to do it. Number 1 is we're going to talk about when your paycheck isn't enough to make ends, you know, how you can make more money at your current job or at a similar job. Number 2 is we're going to talk about how people like me can make money on the side who are just stay-at-home moms. Maybe they want to do a little bit on the side, make some money. Number 3 is people who want to do what?
Build your own biz.
Build your own biz. Hold on, I need a little drink. This is not a Hydro Flask, by the way. These are only $10 or $15 at Costco, and they're amazing.
Make your own money.
We're going to start with number 1. So let's say every month, you scrimp and you save and you cut and you cut and you cut, and you still just don't have enough, not only maybe to just pay the bills, but like to actually live a full life, right? In that case, is there much more cutting you can do, Bubba?
Sometimes you just can't keep cutting.
But you just got to make more sometimes.
You can be smart about it and you can make more money. So I'm an employer. So we both have employees at our 2 different companies or multiple companies.
Yeah, we've got several.
Sorry. And over my career, I've hired over 100 people. And so
Tell us what your business is.
Launchleads.com.
Oh, you can go check it out. It's a sales company.
Yep. So anyway, but in the process of hiring and managing these employees, some of the most important things that I see as an employer where I want to bonus them is when they act like an owner. So most employees are not owners, and so therefore they don't act like it. And
they just show up when they need to.
Clock in,
do
clock
what they
out.
need to. Sometimes their heart's not fully in it. Yeah. I was that person at a lot of my jobs,
We've probably all
sadly.
been that person at some point in our lives. Hopefully, though, if you're listening, you won't be that way tomorrow.
What would you say are your top 3 things you can do to be noticed at the workplace?
You bust your butt, first of all. I mean,
well, what does that mean?
So that means work hard, get there on time,
or get there early.
Oh yeah, I mean even better if you can get there early.
Get there early, stay late.
Dress the part. If you want to be the manager and the manager's supposed to wear X, don't come in and cut off shorts and flip-flops, right? You can act the part that you're not playing yet. So if I'm going to promote somebody from within, I want to see them as a leader before they have a title to be a leader. They just show it. They exude leadership, and that helps me to know if I can promote them. Another thing is to be frugal. When you're acting like an owner, you're watching every dollar and cent go in and out of that business.
And that kind of means like being creative, and I would say maybe like finding, not just frugal, but efficient, finding efficiencies.
Short story. One of my employees came to me and said, hey, Bubba, I think we need to get rid of our wireless mice. You know what I mean? With your laptop, keyboards, whatever. And I was like, why would we do that? They're fantastic. We just got them and blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, every month I notice that we have to exchange batteries on these things. And that's got to cost the company a ton of money. If we just go buy $10, $15 wired mice, we never have to deal with batteries again.
Bing.
High five.
Boom. And guess what?
Bam. Promotion.
That girl got promoted because Bubba started noticing her. And he started noticing, like, she thinks outside of the box. And truthfully, I was working in retail in college. I was working at Plato's Closet, actually. It was like a consignment store. It's still around, but and I was just an employee making $7 an hour, $6.50 an hour or something. But then one day I noticed that it was an inefficient system when people would come in and sell their clothes. And it was driving me nuts because we would take their clothes, put it in a basket, put the basket on the shelf, but there was no system to it. And so I was able to cut like 15 minutes off of every person's buying time by setting up a system where the basket slides the other baskets down. And it was such a simple thing. But what do you know? I became a manager like the next month because they noticed that
Booyah.
I was thinking about that stuff. And I made $7.50 an hour. Yeah.
So much better. Okay,
Boom.
So here's another thing is you've got things like, act like an owner, be a hustler, work crazy. But you can also just be honest and you can go to your boss and ask.
Ask for a raise?
Just ask. Well, not just ask for a raise.
Okay, that's true. That's true. Sorry, I'm going to let you say this.
So
that's
don't go and just be like, I want a raise. Yo, boss, come on. I'm awesome. But go in there and say, hey, I would love to earn more money. I love this job. I love this company. Make sure you build up their ego. I love this job. I love the people I work with.
CEOs have big egos.
Rub the ego. Stroke it.
Stroke it.
And and I got a sideways swirly right there.
Whatever.
I'm pretty sure.
Looks good. Keep talking.
Okay. So, but go in there and say, hey, I love this so much, but I'd love to do something. How can I earn some more? How can I qualify for a bonus? How can I earn some commission? How could I something to that effect, so that the boss sits there and says, if this person's been working super hard, and I can tell, is acting like an owner, you do these things first before you ask this question, and he's been watching you do this, or she, then when you come up and say, I want to earn some more cash, they can start to think about it. Oh, you know what?
They'll tell you exactly what you need to do.
Talk to them, work it through, and get it in writing, by the way. Yeah. Get it in writing.
Now, don't take this personally, but I know my freebs very well. Most of them are women, and a lot of my freebs are not the primary
earner.
What do you call breadwinner in the household? For many of them, their husbands go to work full time, and they either work part time or stay home with their kids or make supplemental income. So if that's the case, pass these tips along to your husband. Or whoever the breadwinner is in your family, if this is a husband watching and your wife is. And you guys, there are literally hours of information about this exact topic that's covered in budgetbootcamp.com. We have a whole section on this. If you guys want more, there's no way we could possibly tell you everything in 15 minutes, but we do have it super in-depth. We want to help you guys earn more money and be successful. So that is a good resource. Otherwise, maybe we'll try to do more blog posts and stuff about it too, to offer some free content. If you guys are interested, just leave questions.
And even last Q&A, people were asking these things over and over and over again. So we know you guys need this and want this. So.
We talked about debt in our last one, but a lot of people were asking about this. So now for people who aren't in the formal workplace, but maybe want to make some money on the side, want to make a little money from home, maybe they want to make a little money doing something they love. So let's talk about that for a second. I'll start us out maybe because it's people more like me.
Let's do this.
So one of the things that I would recommend doing is if you want to make some money on the side, don't jump to something necessarily like an MLM or network marketing. That was one of the questions. I have very firm opinions against MLMs. They work incredibly well for a lot of my influencer friends. I've got friends making heavy six figures from network marketing companies, but guess what? They had really good platforms to start from. They had a good following. They had people who believed them. If you're starting from scratch, just a stay-at-home mom, you're soliciting your friends and your families, which sometimes works, but it's not super sustainable in the long run. And the amount of time and money that they have to invest to actually become upper tier is just...
You can get a job.
You can get a job for that, truthfully, and probably get paid more and get benefits and stuff. So my opinion is I've tried them. I get recruited every week to them, and I've actually dabbled in some, I've tried some full out, I've gone to meetings, I've looked into it. My stance is, I don't recommend it for my freebs. Let's just say that. So what can you do instead? We talk about this in Budget Bootcamp, but go through your day. Look at everything you do during your day or things that you love to do and wish you did more. Do you crochet? Do you drive your kids to school? Do you do laundry? I know we do. He's the folder of the family. Do you walk your dog? Do you help your kids with homework? Do you drive your kid to dance or band or soccer or football? What are you doing already? Do you cook dinner? Find what you do, what you're good at or even kind of good at, and make money doing it. So there was a success story recently. I didn't even tell you this from one of my freebs. Maybe I'll get permission and post it on social media, but she made like $100 the other day from making freezer meals for one of her friends. Her friend wanted it, didn't want to do it, didn't want to shop or pay for it. So she made a bunch for her family and at the same time made some for her friend, made $100. So there are ways to do that. In high school, I couldn't get a traditional job between my 3 cheerleading teams I was on in gymnastics and student government and all these other things, dating life. I couldn't get a formal job. So I got creative and I called myself a mother's helper. And I put flyers around in daycares and I said, all right, what can I do? I can teach beginner piano. I've been taking for a few years. I can teach that. I'm doing homework anyway, so I can help kids with their homework. I'm driving around. I have a good car and a good driving record, so I would drive kids to and from activities for parents who didn't want to take off work or whatever, or couldn't. And I babysat. And I made way more money doing that because it was just, I set my own rate. I didn't have a boss. And it was stuff I was doing anyway, so it didn't really take up that much time. So I've kind of been using that same philosophy. What am I doing anyway? Well, I'm on social media. I'm already living this frugal life, figuring out budgeting. Might as well share it with people and make a little money on the side, which I still don't take a paycheck, but I do have employees and we use money for fabulous things like building programs like Budget Bootcamp. So yes, I do make money.
Especially nowadays with the online world, there's so many ways that you can be a freelancer.
Yes, now you talk about that.
So freelancer.com, there's...
Well, what is freelancing?
Okay, so freelancing is essentially like, what's the other word? Working at night.
Like a moonlighter?
Moonlighting.
Kind of. Freelance is you take a skill and instead of, like if I'm a good writer, instead of going and getting a job as a writer, I freelance my services. So I just pick up little jobs here and there. I don't really work for anybody. It's just like a one-off contract.
Exactly.
Boom.
Thank you, freelancer. So think about the skills you have. You've gained skills through your life's experience. Narrow those down and the things you love to do them for people and offer them up. And there are different websites. You can Google them, Google freelance jobs, and there's a bajillion
But there's a website, I have not used this personally, I think you have, called Fiverr, Fivrr, something that's spelled weird. But basically you put on, I can draw your portrait. I can whistle you a song. Whatever you can do through the computer, you put it up and you say what's worth $5 and people will totally pay you $5 for stuff. And I know some people who have
I got my cartoon face made for free.
Yeah, and for an anniversary present, we were pretty tight on cash. So he went on Fiverr and it was like, I think he paid someone to write a poem and then draw a picture of me.
Awesome.
And it was like $10 and it was this really cute creative.
But there's even companies now that you can be a grocery picker-upper for people.
Yeah, a courier.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys all know the Ubers.
Uber, yeah. So that's actually, we talked about this in our last Q&A video, but to touch on it again, I'm a huge believer in Uber and Lyft because I know that a lot of my Uber drivers, when I'm doing TV segments on the East Coast, like when I was out for Rachel Ray or QVC even, these men who are driving me home were driving themselves home from work and they just turn on their Uber, pick up a rider that's on their own way home, make a quick $35 or whatever it pays for their gas in their car.
There's a lot of cool jobs like that. So you just go online, you can search for these different things, look at your skills, get down to what you're best at and do that.
We'll move on to the last thing, which is starting a business. Whoa, that's my voice. Sorry. Uber makes me nervous. You never know whose car you're getting into. Same with a taxi driver. I've been in with some pretty shady taxi drivers, but Uber is has it hit $1 billion industry yet? Uber?
Like 70 billion.
70 billion dollar industry.
I just, yeah.
They have systems that you have to do a background check to be a driver, and you should never get in anyone's car that has a lower than 5-star rating.
And this is not sponsored by Uber.
No, I have no affiliation. I might have an affiliate link somewhere for Uber. Maybe I'll post it if I can find it. But I don't use taxis anymore. I use Uber because it's...
Okay, so here's any tips on making Shauna Hansen. Any tips on making extra cash for a family while in nursing school?
So she's a mom of 2. Husband has a good job. Went from 2 incomes to 1 to pursue nursing.
So we went to from 2 incomes to 1 when I started my company, and we ended up selling our car.
Yeah.
So we ended up from 2 cars down to 1. I ended up riding my bike to work, or we stopped going out to like expensive movies, and we just went to the dollar theater. I mean, things that we started to cut from a dual income lifestyle down to a single income. But then
it got to the point where, for him, his nursing school was starting a business, and we could only cut so much.
I didn't take a paycheck for an entire year.
Well, and then the next year after that was really hit and miss. It ended up being about $31,000 that second year. So, sometimes there's a time and a season, and maybe you just need to cut as much as you can, get through nursing school, and then focus on getting a good paying nursing job. But then to make money on the side.
But you can tutor people if you're in nursing school. I mean, that's the thing. You're learning these nursing skills.
Help the lower classmen.
Yeah. Or even pre-nursing students that are looking up to being a nursing student. I mean, there's in any industry this applies.
Last week, there were lots of comments about people going to grad school and how to do it without debt, school loan debt. So go back and read those comments. But one of the comments was to get a job at the school that you're going to school at, because you oftentimes get a discount on tuition on top of getting a paycheck that works well with your job. Before we answer a question, I'm going to move on to the third thing and get it out of the way, and then we'll do questions.
Done.
The last thing is starting your own business. We're both entrepreneurs. Bubba's a serial entrepreneur. He's like a hardcore entrepreneur. He's like a serial killer.
Serial means I like to start multiple companies.
Likes to eat cereal.
I do.
He does like to eat cereal. But his first company he started in college, and then he started when we were first married, and has had that company for how long?
8 years.
8 years. So that pays the bills. That's what we live off of. We decided from day one that we will live off of whatever that company makes. And then on the side, he's tried businesses that have worked. He's helped in businesses that haven't, and we are investing.
But you learn a lot in a failed business.
You learn a lot in a failed business. And that's actually one of the tips, is if you're going to fail fast.
Yeah, fail fast. You don't want to waste time with it.
Exactly.
So here's some tips on getting things started when you're looking at a business. A lot of
But
people,
you're not talking to like launch leads where it's at. Remember who you're talking to.
Okay.
Like me, because I have businesses. So how would you explain to me?
So correct me if I go on the wrong tangent.
Sometimes he gets like super hardcore.
Well, I go to lunch with like entrepreneurs all the time, so I'm like in business mode all the time.
Be in like mom business mode.
Mom business mode. Okay, don't hide your business idea.
That's a good one.
I just think it's ridiculous if you're afraid to tell people your business idea, you're never gonna do a business.
You're afraid to tell them because you don't want someone to steal your idea.
You want everybody that you know and love to help you. You want these people to
give your input.
Yeah, rally around you. Now, something that's very important that most people miss is they go to their family, they go to their spouse, they go to and they ask, "Is this a good idea?" And they don't want to be the one saying your baby's ugly. Right? They don't want to say that, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to tell you, "Oh, that's a great idea.
Love it.
Nice job.
You should do it.
Yeah.
Just you go girl."
And the reality is it's probably a horrible idea, and they're like talking behind your back going, "Oh my gosh,
or
she's going to fail."
Or they're like, "Go for it." I mean, I wouldn't buy it, but like I'm sure somebody would,
So the way to get around that is if you can talk to 10 or 20 or 50 people who are not your friends. They are not your acquaintances. These are just random strangers, whether it's on the street or a phone call or knocking door, whatever. Talk to them about your business and basically say, "Hey,
how do you get opinions of strangers?
How do you get opinions? You ask, you talk to people."
So you would need to.
It takes some guts. But
it
starting
does.
A
You're at
business
the
takes some
gym,
guts.
like you sit at a park, and instead of like sitting on your own park bench watching your kids, on your phone. Go sit by someone and strike up a conversation. 5 minutes into a conversation, I'm sure you could get comfortable enough to ask their opinion on something.
Or
sounds kind of crazy.
You just straight up shake their hand and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm looking at starting a business that does X. is this something that
That's a little gutsy.
Hey,
that's a little gutsy.
That's...
Let me bring it to Jordan mode, because this is what he made me do. When we were first married, before we had kids, I had the perfect business idea. It was perfect. Foolproof. It was, I mean, it doesn't even matter what it was, but it was like clothing, which actually is a real thing now, pieces of clothing that you can make things modest with. And I was going to do it. I had my cousin sew me like a little prototype, and I was just going to go for it. And Bubba's like, well, you need to find out more about it. I'm like, everyone will love it. So what he did is he said, look, just get some of your friends. And they were mostly neighbors, so some were closer friends than others, which is a good way of doing it. Because if you have all your best friends, like he said, they're going to be supportive. But you get a good slice of people who know you well, and maybe people who don't know you as well. And I fed them lunch in my kitchen, and it was kind of a round, and I was so nervous, I almost canceled like 10 minutes before. Truthfully, I had a text written.
It sucks to hear that your baby's ugly.
No, I just didn't think anyone would show up, and it was going to be awkward, and like, I just felt so uncomfortable about it. I really did, and I wasn't sure what I was going to say, and is this going to be weird? So I almost canceled, but I didn't. But I had like 15 girls, and I fed them snacks and lunch, and I asked them all about my idea, and guess what? I didn't do it. I didn't do it because I realized that it wasn't a pain point for other people, and it gave me enough information to go off of that I knew it wasn't a right fit.
You go, girl.
And guess what? With Budget Bootcamp, before I did anything, before I even bought the URL of the name, I got 20 freebs. And I fed them food at the Harmon's grocery store up in the free. Were any of you guys there? And I had
oh, that's our dog.
He just wants in. Thanks, babe. And I had a little round table, and I asked them, I said, what do you think about this name? What do you think about this? What would you want in a program? How much would you pay for this? And I asked everything before I built. And that's actually a tip that Bubba said he really wanted to share, so I'll load it and shoot it off for you, is sell it literally and figuratively before you even build it. So for Budget Bootcamp, I didn't have a ton of money stocked away. I mean, it was tens of thousands of dollars, to build a program. It's not cheap. And then to sustain it and have employees to help me sustain it and stuff. So I literally did pre-orders before I even finished the product and needed that money to help me build the product. So I got you guys on board by building exactly what you wanted, told you what you could expect and when you could expect it, and I gave you a discount and got that money to help me build the program.
I know most people think it's impossible to...
Shark Tank with your friends, yes.
Yeah, no, totally. And now that you have a Kickstarter, you have Indiegogo, these are all websites that you can go to, and you can pre-sell your idea. You can pre-sell your concept. You can pre-sell your...
Before you even have a product.
Before you build it. I mean, yes, it's better to have a prototype. It's better to have a sample, whatever. But these are things that we didn't have 10 years ago, and now you do. So pre-sell that concept to make sure people are going to write you a check. If people won't write you a check or pay with their credit card, you have no chance of selling whatever that is. So try to get that going first.
Yeah.
There was a great question, though, I wanted to bring up that I saw. They said, how do I start a business with no money? If I have no money, how do I start? And the other person said, if I'm an introvert, how in the world? You guys are so outgoing. How do I start a business if I'm an introvert? Both concepts. You don't need money to start a business necessarily.
How much money did you start launch with?
My friend built my first website for a college class.
You can build free websites.
He got credit for building for free. And it was the jankiest website. Thank you, Curtis. It was awesome. It got us started. Love you. And then I literally just started asking companies. I asked like a previous person that I knew, hey, if I did this service
Yes,
for
his
you,
real name is Brant, but he's never gone by anything other than Bubba.
I was a fat baby, the name's...
There's this whole conversation going about your name. Anyway.
So the long story short was, if you have a service business, you literally need just about nothing, no money. You just go talk to somebody and say, hey, I'd like to clean your house. Or I want to do cold calls for you. Or I want to...
Here's an idea.
Wash your windows, whatever that is. And you don't necessarily need money beforehand.
So I have a friend who's starting a business right now, and she does elaborate birthday parties for her own kids. And she loves it. It's like, her name's Milena. Are you on here, Milena? She did like a Cars party that was out of this world. And a mom like me, I would love to do that for my kids, but don't really have the craftiness or time or money to do it. So she's like, well, if I'm going to do it, how can I justify this cost of throwing this big birthday party for my kids? She's like, I know, I will make stuff that can be like rented. And so now she basically creates these full package birthday parties and rents them out to other people. It's a little photo booth thing, a table scape, this whole thing.
You're gonna build it anyway.
Yeah, but you know what she did? She texted me. We know each other because basically she came to one of my Freebs night outs, and I don't even know how we got each other's numbers or whatever, but she's like, hey, look, don't want to bother you, but you have some businesses, but you're also a mom. What do you think about this price point? What do you think about this? And she's going to do it for free. She's going to decorate Priya's Moana party next Saturday because she knows that it's going to be in the background of my pictures and it will help get her name out there. So she's taking what she already had or what she was already doing, and she's kind of building, and then if she earns any business from that.
Think about how smart she is to say, hey, Jordan, I'll do this one for you.
Yeah.
You know,
if you'll help me get my name out there, let me know how your experience was. What would you want more of and less of? And stuff.
So sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit up front. Like if you were to do house cleaning as a job, you may have to do the first few house cleanings for like half the price because you want those customers as testimonials. You want them to be like referring you to their friends and things like that. So it's important to make a great first impression, especially with those first few customers.
One last example, and then we should probably wrap up because I'm sorry this is so long, but with how late it is, we've got a lot of people on here.
We'll do this again next week.
Yeah, you guys, every Tuesday. So at one of my budget bootcamp conferences, good job. I started my jewelry business with $20 worth of supplies, and this year we'll do 6 figures.
Bam, bam,
it takes time and a lot of hard work, but you can do it.
Nice work,
Freaking A, Kendra. And by the way, her stuff is really cute. Post your link, Kendra. It's cute stuff. At one of my conferences, there was a guy there, and he talked about how much he loved gardening. And he has a day job, but like his passion is gardening. And I told him, I'm like, dude, we are trying to buy a house that's on 1.5 acres. This was before we bought this house. And we're going to need help with the garden. I've never done it before. And I'm like, come be my garden consultant. And then the next year he came to our conference again, and I saw him. I'm like, hey, you never came to my garden. And anyway, we talked, and he literally started a business by helping me with my garden, and now he FaceTimes people.
Genius.
$0.
Genius.
He started an Instagram account. He FaceTimes people's garden from all over the country.
Doesn't have
gives
to
them
be there.
advice, and he did it taking something that he was good at
and loved.
And that's it. He $0 to start his business, and he's doing great. So, oh my
gosh,
gosh,
I'm so sorry. It is way late. We love you. Thank you so much.
This is so stressful. There are like 300 comments.
We will do this again. Keep writing the comments, and even after this is done,
the urban gardener. No, I should say.
Hold on.
The veggie garden guy.
Okay, the veggie garden guy. After this is done, keep commenting on the video even after it's not live, so that we can look at those and hit them up next week or in future weeks. And then make sure to be back again. I know we love you.
Go to budgetbootcamp.com. Bubba has a super long series about like the business.
Looking pretty hot.
He does. The lighting is fantastic. He looks super good looking. Even more good looking than he does right now.
Actually.
And he does a whole series on like if you are the breadwinner, and then I do a parallel series in budgetbootcamp.com for people like me who just either stay at home or make side money or want to make side money. So use the code Facebook or YouTube to get 10% off. And
we'll be back next Tuesday. Peace out.
I have to just not look at the comments. Just turn it. Just stop it. I can't even look. I love you guys.
Keep commenting even after
it's done. No, it stresses me out.